Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back to a new to the scene, but this one's also a special episode of Does It Suck? Because we went to see a vampire movie.
Yay!
So we figure why don't we turn this in? It's still a new to the scene. It's still newish.
But does it suck?
But does it suck? That's the important question. That is the important question. So Renfield, a supposed sequel to the Bela Lugosi Dracula movie.
That's what I was told by my buddy Mike at work. So
Yeah, spiritual sequel.
If you'd seen it, maybe you would know that. Have we seen it though?
Yeah, well, that'll show up eventually, I'm sure. So you got yourself
I outed us. I'm so sorry.
you got yourself Nicholas Hoult as Renfield and
Nicholas Cage
as Dracula.
very Nicholas in this movie.
Yeah, and I
Very
was Nicholas in
cagey.
the theater.
Yes, and he was way too much
we had
Nicholas.
a Nicholas trifecta.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
You put us all together. We're the tryhards.
Okay, I like
We
it.
had the best Nicholas with us personally, though.
Yep,
Hi, Nick.
No, it was Nick Cage.
he's right off camera. Hi, Nick.
Which apparently it was last time you didn't know that Nicolas Cage was a Coppola.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, but we went over that in a future video that's coming up pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I guess before we get in, well, I guess we'll do scores, and then we'll do would you recommend it, and then we'll get into spoilers before we start talking about spoilers, because it's still new to the theater. Maybe you want to go out and watch it. We'll give our scores first, so we don't influence each other's guesses,
Word.
and then we'll go for if we'd recommend it.
Okay.
So Amber, what would you give it from 0 to 10?
You know, I've been thinking about it all week because we saw it on Sunday, and it is nowhere near Sunday at this point. And so I've had time to think about it, and I've had time, I guess, to forget about it.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And so I really enjoyed it, but I think because I'm struggling to remember more non-action-y parts, I think I can only give it a 7.
Oh, well
Sorry, couldn't help myself.
What'd you give it? Oh, it's a 7. Yay!
Yeah.
Good job.
all right. The preamble is making me think 7 was too high.
No, I think I could have. I think out of the theater, I was thinking more of an 8. But as the week went on, I'm like, what was in that movie again? It was one of those things that was like the freshness kind of wore off.
If it's forgettable.
Now, is it the forgettableness of the movie, or is it that you then go home and take care of a child and then go to work and then all the other fun stuff?
It could also be some of that.
Yeah.
But I think the important parts stood out.
Okay. Lance, what would you give Renfield?
I would give this movie a solid. I want to say 6, but I think I enjoyed it more than that, so I'll give it a 7.
Damn,
see.
I thought you were going to give it an 8.
I gave it an 8 for the Nick Cage.
I did too. It's like it's probably a 7, but we're gonna give it one more for Nick Cage.
I wanted to give it a 6, but I bumped it up to 7 because of the cage. So.
Oh, I gotta fix my number for Nick now.
All right, so Nick, what would you give this movie?
I think I'm going to give this one a 7 because it was
Ah, damn! I was
a
so
little
close.
bit a bit above average and fun enough to watch.
Damn it. Let's see, I guess 6 as well.
Yeah. Apparently, I hate movies.
No, it's like I knew you were laughing. I remembered that distinctly. You had a lot of fun, but I was like, was it more of the and it wasn't because we saw it in the theater. We didn't have the we're sitting on the couches in the same room so we can riff on it and crack jokes because we're polite to people in the theaters. So it's like, so I knew there was none of that, but I was like, would it be a 6 or a 7? And I went down just because I was like, it's like, I don't know that you were like, we obviously didn't discuss it afterwards. So it's like, I couldn't gauge if the laughter was just some good laughter or if it was more. Or,
I suppose I'll get into the bits that made me laugh.
Yeah.
And the cat is deciding.
Every single time the camera's
on
now.
It's time to decide.
It's time for a love-in.
You coming up?
Here she comes. Come on, Clicks.
You can be up here for a little bit and meow. So I guess Amber, would you recommend the movie?
Oh yes, I've actually already recommended it. I have a friend who's very much into anime, less so like horror and gore, but it's more like anime
action.
It was more like anime, and she's into some gory, I guess, like Demon Slayer anime. So she was like, she's used to some of the more extreme stuff. So she was off today and on Monday for her birthday. So I was just like, well, maybe I was like, if you're looking for something, it's not a long movie, and maybe you enjoy it.
Yeah, it was only like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's remarkably short.
Lance, would you recommend this movie to people?
Definitely.
Have you already recommended it to people?
So
At work?
yeah, I went and I talked to a few people at work about it on Monday, and I was talking to Mike about it, and Mike was like, "Yeah, I want to go see it," and that's when he dropped the knowledge on me that apparently the beginning parts with like the light across the eyes and everything,
the black and white,
was like
that was definitely
shot for shot stuff from the Bela Lugosi stuff,
yeah,
and then,
I mean that definitely looked it.
I could tell that.
Yeah,
and I've never seen the old school Dracula stuff.
He said the only thing that was different is that Renfield dies in the Bela Lugosi version, but like I guess they just found a reason to bring him back for the Renfield movie.
Imagine that.
So
we're gonna make a Renfield movie. Renfield died, sir. I'm like, I just ignore that bit.
Yeah.
Or he's a little bit like Dracula. He always comes back.
Well, I also don't think Renfield was a particularly powerful character in the old Dracula movies either.
No, I think they ramped up the power of ghouls.
Yeah. So I think I'd recommend this movie as well. I mean, knowing that it's over the top violent and for the purpose of being comedic.
Yeah.
And for some people that's not their bag, but I don't know. If you're watching a vampire movie for the romantic aspects of
I can give you some recommendations for those that are good and not Twilight.
Yeah, and this ain't it either. This is not
you're gonna go, baby.
This is not the romantic vampire movie.
No.
I mean, it tried in places, but it
flopped
horribly.
Not really. Not the vampires as the tragic romantic figures that some movies go for, like the Twilight as.
Dracula was not a romantic figure in this one. Typically, when you are having anything that's involving Dracula and it's romanticized, Dracula is the tragic romantic star of it.
Or some sort of vampire is, at least.
And then he bites somebody's throat
Louis
out.
in Interview with a Vampire.
Then he bites somebody's throat out, and he's not as tragic. It's just,
this one, it was Dracula was monstrous. Dracula was horrifying, but Dracula still had some charm.
All right, so I guess shall we? With those out of the way, you hopefully have an idea whether you should see the movie or not.
Yeah.
And if you're ready, be ready for spoilers.
Yes, spoilers.
Spoilers. So I enjoyed the over-the-top violent bits because they were unexpected, and that tends to make me laugh.
Yeah.
Like when he pulled a face off or he launched arms at people. That's funny.
It was funny.
Because it's not
plausible.
Yeah, it's not plausible. Like watching real violence or whatever, it depends on what kind of like the torture porn sort of hostels and stuff like that. I hate that shit.
Yeah, no.
I don't like
It's not Saw.
I don't like Saw. I don't like any of those sort of movies.
No.
But when it's anime, silly, over-the-top violence, that's not going to fucking happen. Or I guess even just the more John Wick-y style, maybe it's a bit more realistic, but it's very precise, and it's not like over-the-top, like you're seeing guts fly out of people. Or in this one, you do see guts fly out of people, but it's, cartoony.
It's campy, yeah.
It's very campy, and it was definitely being played partly for laughs, but partly for like, hey, just look at this awesome action. But it wasn't like, even though they show a lot of graphic stuff, I didn't find it grotesque or gory or gross in that way. I mean, yeah, it's got a lot of blood, so technically it falls into the gore category. Yeah. But like I was telling my friend, it's not grotesque. It's not like Drag Me to Hell where you get the long drawn out spit at times and stuff, and then like super close ups of stuff that's just really gross and with the amplified sound. You don't really have that. It's done in such a way that it really does emulate more of an anime style, and that's fun. I mean, you could probably make more analogies to how gory and bloody it was to Dracula Dead and Loving It compared to Renfield to like a traditional gore movie.
I mean, describing it as anime, I mean, ends up being pretty fitting because I mean, it's even got that weird like power up bits too. Where like, gotta eat the bug real quick, and then he like powers up, and it's time for violence or whatever.
Yeah, that you eat multiple bugs and go Super Saiyan apparently.
Yeah. And then the ending thing where he like kicks a man so hard, everything comes out of him.
Yeah, but like that X-ray shot was pretty epic.
It was funny.
Like
It's a thing they didn't do for the rest of the movie, and they kind of saved it for this bit.
Yeah, well, it was like, so back in the day, there's the old Sonny Chiba Street Fighter movies. They used to do the thing where he would like hit someone, and then they do the X-ray shot of you see the arm breaking, and like him basically, like, didn't he hit him in the balls?
No, like he kicked him like right in the
Like the sword,
and
like
essentially in the spine, because you see his spine break first, and then every bone in his body radiate and break.
Then like it was like a domino effect.
Yeah.
But that shit, I thought it looked great.
It was funny. It reminded me of Mortal Kombat, like where they would do the X-ray shots, or you like see someone stab someone through the head, and then you see like the knife go through the brain, and then they could keep fighting afterwards. You're like, what the fuck is this?
You know, one thing I will say, that the expectations for that movie, for this movie, I can say, like, for me, were kindly tempered in by actually just having watched Vampire in Brooklyn. Because when Ralphio from Parks and Rec showed up, I immediately thought of the Italian guys that got killed in the alleyway. I was like, I'm feeling flashbacks here.
That's because it was him whenever he got to the bridge scene, and like the cop was like, is that so-and-so? And he was like, I wanted to jump out the car and be like, don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be. I really want them to do it, but I know they can't.
I really wish they would have had a Jenny Slate cameo. That would have been, like, didn't have to do much with her. Just put her in there. We would know. We would know.
I guarantee you that's on the internet somewhere by now.
What?
Don't be suspicious. Yeah, him do it in the movie.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know if as many people find it funny as apparently you people. I don't remember it that much. I remember it, but I don't like to remember it to the point where I'm quoting it.
Literally,
I do
at one
money,
point,
please.
Both of us have been playing Horizon Forbidden West. At one point, like, you're sneaking around, she goes, don't be suspicious. And we always both break out into don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
But no, I've taught our child how to go, money, please.
Money, please.
You're welcome.
I want my money.
It's going to serve him well in a few years.
Money, please.
Well, now he just asks for candy. And candy, please. Rainbow. What color do you want? Rainbow? No, that's not it's a color, but it's not. No.
It's
no.
all the colors. He wants all of the colors.
He literally did that the other night. We took him in the bathroom. He's got jelly beans and a little egg, and I opened it up. I said, you get to pick 2 colors. What colors do you want? And he said, rainbow. And I was like, get that shit out of here.
I've thought about to say topiary recently, too.
But this one isn't a review on our kid. But by
These
the way,
are the important things I teach my child.
He's 12 out of 10, in case you're wondering. But yeah, no, the over-the-top gore, him throwing an arm and it sticking in a wall at one point, that shit was fucking hilarious.
Oh, he threw it 2 arms and it stuck into people into walls. I think he hit them so hard it stuck them to walls.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious.
The whole codependent toxic relationship that they basically proved was I enjoyed that aspect too.
That's a new aspect to that.
I like that. I like
to the ghoul relationship, I suppose.
Yeah, I enjoyed that part. It was played for I think the appropriate level of both seriousness yet laughs. It showed him trying to break free to be that independent woman.
Yeah, the only thing that was weird about all that was I thought, like, coming down off of vampire blood was like coming off heroin kind of a thing. And like,
it depends on the lore.
Yeah.
And even when you're, like, connected to him, like, he could basically call you and make you do whatever, but that didn't seem to be...
He was doing that.
He was calling for him and he could hear him, but it's not like he was like, come to me, and like he went to him.
Keep in mind that the movie repeatedly said Dracula was never at full strength. Yeah. Because he goes through cycles where he gets to full strength, he wreaks havoc, hunters come after him, he gets nearly obliterated, Renfield has to then ferry him off to a new location, hide him, feed him. It takes several decades, and then finally he's back to full power.
A bus full of cheerleaders.
Yeah, that was so hilarious when he walked into the bar and it was like the nuts.
A bus full of cheerleaders. He's like, oh, come on.
One of the visuals I really did like, speaking of him coming back to power, was his throne with all of the blood packets.
Oh, that was so cool. It was very cyberpunky for me.
It was.
And I really enjoyed that. I every time they showed the dilapidated hotel with that, I was like, I really like that aesthetic.
That's a dope aesthetic. How did you feel about like full-on monster teeth the entire time?
That didn't bother me.
That's not really
Was it distracting? No, it wasn't distracting me at all.
I mean, they use similar teeth like that in Supernatural for their vampires. Once you're actually fully turned, so the fact that they can retract in Supernatural, but when their outfits all like razor sharp teeth all around,
Probably
like,
so it costs them less money.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things of, so for me, having watched so much Supernatural, that was fine. It wasn't distracting.
The only thing in the beginning of the movie, there are points where you could tell he's having a hard time talking through the dentures.
I don't know if he was wearing dentures because I think those were CG.
I think he was trying to emulate talking through a broken mouth. Like, it's not fully healed. That it's broken English, and then he's not healed, so he's trying to talk through like swollen flesh.
So the entire time it looked like his teeth were CG, but I wouldn't put it above Nick Cage to have put dentures in.
This is true.
And they kept having to CG over him because they were like hillbilly teeth.
Renfield. He probably put something in, maybe just to give him the sound.
Yeah.
Because when you're like a vampire, I mean, it's kind of like having the teeth there makes you sound different.
Yeah. I know I've heard some people like not be happy about Awkwafina, but I enjoyed her.
I like Awkwafina.
And I've not seen her in a lot of stuff, but I've seen her in enough things of variance that, because she was in this, she was in Shang-Chi, she was in Ride of the Last Dragon, and she was in Ocean's 8.
No,
Ocean's 8's great.
I've seen the first 3 with her in it, and I think she was like a character in this. Because I think when you tend to get annoyed with a person, it's because they're playing the same thing over and over. And I don't think she was.
I don't feel like that. Having seen her in basically in all 4 of those roles, I feel like she's a different character in each one, and that's important. So I think they just see Awkwafina, they see that she's just Awkwafina. Her name's just Awkwafina. She's a comedian, and they just assume that she's just going to be herself. And I mean, she's not like Michael Cera.
Yeah. And she's playing it for laughs in a way, but she's playing it serious enough too. But she's not just a joke character.
Yeah, I mean, I thought she handled her role very well. I know a lot of people were playing down the whole cop aspect. It was like why is there's cops in this movie? It's like there's plenty of vampire movies where cops end up playing an integral role because cops tend to take the place of hunters in a modern setting.
Yeah.
Did I just see you cut off some guy's arm with a cocktail tray? That was awesome.
That was fun too.
Her delivery of like really like tongue-in-cheek lines, like with a very serious, like it was really good.
Fuck you.
Yeah, she was really good.
She was good.
Fuck you, Kyle. That shit was hilarious.
I mean, Ben Schwartz was kind of playing a version of John Ralphio again. A more competent one-ish.
Was it though?
That's because John Ralphio, at least, like, my plan is to get hit by a car. And it's obviously John Ralphio's setting himself up for failure. At least he's like, I hired this hunter to go there, and then he drove away or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, the running out of the car, throwing drugs at cops is probably not tops. But
No.
I don't think he is as incompetent. He's just
Stupid.
He's just kind of stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, he led a hit squad to go kill Renfield in the broken down hospital. It was set up well. It's not. He didn't John Ralphio it.
This is true.
He just is bad at it.
But his mom was excellent as well. Yeah. But I have a very Aramasala from The Expanse. I will never be able to pronounce her actual name. Unfortunately, I am not that talented. I think it's Indian in nature, and I'm very not good with those.
I don't know her. I don't know her. I know her voice. So when she's
Tally's auntie on the flotilla as well.
Yeah, and Mass Effect.
She's got the voice like she smoked 5 packs a day for like the last 23 years.
But it's an iconic voice.
It's a great voice.
It's so gravelly, but it's so captivating, and I just love her. Like, she's like my favorite reason to watch The Expanse.
Okay.
So
I might go back to watch it. So I bounced off episode 1. I'll have to try again.
Yeah. Just like all of my favorite characters, there's only one who's actually on the ship. The rest are characters that aren't on the actual ship that's flying around. Because I love Aravasala. I love Bobby, who's not immediately introduced until like season 2. And
fuck it, I'm gonna give it a swat. Shore Agadashalu. Shore Agadashalu. Agdashlu. Anyway, she's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who else did we have of note?
Ralphio.
Jean-Ralphio
Ben Schwartz.
as Ben Schwartz.
It's Dietrich Bader all over again.
That's my Dietrich Bader.
Dietrich Oswald.
There's a bunch of people I don't recognize.
No, there wasn't a lot of big name actors in this, and I think that actually helped it a lot. Like, I think one of the things that I understood why they did it, but it's like how powerful is vampire blood in this. He brought back the entire therapy group.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's one that the guy that ran the club was one of the people in The Good Place, season 4.
Hmm.
And he was the one that was brought to torture.
Okay. We haven't watched.
So here's an interesting bit of trivia. Ryan Ridley is one of the two writers of this movie, which is a big writer and voice actor in the first couple of seasons of Rick and Morty.
Oh.
And then he disappeared.
It's probably because he was working on this.
So he wanted to go work on movies again, apparently. That was interesting. And I don't watch all these, of course. So,
but yeah, I mean, I get doing that, but at the same time, it's like it seemed excessive.
It was overdone for the comedy.
Yeah.
So I mean,
and they just left the blood sitting out by the coffee and the cakes.
Yeah, and just with the label of Dracula's blood.
Yeah.
You got your A, you got your B, you got your C. Wait, wrong movie.
Wrong
Sorry,
vampire
my bad.
I don't even think it's a vampire movie.
We're gonna watch it, and it doesn't suck. Just so
we can watch it.
So y'all can say it blows.
We can. It's probably gonna be funny, but we can watch it. I just don't think it's a vampire movie.
Ooh, Evil Dead Rise came out this weekend. That movie looks catastrophically bad.
So do we want to go? Speaking of magic blood.
Yeah, let's go through the list. While he's distracted.
So I've not gone through it yet, but we've got 19 things. I have a feeling we're going to get 18 of them.
I think you're right, because they were very pointed about pointing out a lot of this that we know is on our list.
Yeah. So let's see. Blood dependency.
God, yes.
Yeah. Immortality.
Yes.
Physical prowess.
Yes.
Magical prowess. One of those being thrall creation. I mean, he made Renfield. Magical blood.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah. Nigh unkillable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they even implied that after chopping him up into bits and putting him in cement,
concrete and dumping it. Yeah.
He's still going to come back.
Yeah. Shapeshifting.
Yes.
Yeah. Distinct appearance.
God, yes.
Yeah. Coffin dependency. Mm-hmm. They wheeled him in. Or remember
he came across the ocean in a coffin.
Well, also when they brought him into
Meet Our Masala.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was in his coffin.
Right.
Monstrous predatory.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Tragic figure.
I mean, Renfield was.
Yeah.
And he was associated with that.
But wait, does that count if we're not talking about the...
But he's a thrall of a vampire.
Yeah, I don't know if they played it up as much in this one.
Yeah, so it's like, if we're looking at specifically just vampires...
Just the vampire.
Then I would say we don't... I
don't know that he necessarily... I mean, he definitely lost a lot. But I don't know that I would call him like a tragic figure.
No, because he didn't feel like he was mourning the loss. He was more mourning his lackey. And they were in a codependent relationship together. That was proven by his deciding that I'm going to make a plan for us both. I'm going to take over the world, and they put with Renfield.
Yeah, with Renfield.
So I'll put this forward. You can tell me if this counts or not.
Mm-hmm.
When he was doing the whole recounting of when Renfield turned on him, and he was like, "I took you under my wing. I loved you when other people didn't. I was your friend when people didn't. I was the person who gave you power. I gave you purpose." I'd say that's a bit.
So I don't know if that's tragic or if that's more gaslighty.
I feel like it was being played more for gaslighting because they were examining the Dracula Renfield relationship as a toxic, abusive relationship in the Codependence Anonymous. So
yeah, and I don't know if that Dracula was saying those things because he believed them
or because he was trying to make Renfield believe them. So Dracula had the power. It was about the power. I felt it was more of an exploration of the power dynamic of Dracula. Made Renfield believe those things, so Dracula had the power in the relationship because it was about Renfield reclaiming his own power by negating Dracula's power over him through the codependency. He gave himself the power and was more powerful than Dracula. It was kind of like that dynamic.
So I think they were exploring different things rather than the tragedy of Dracula.
So that's a no?
That's a no.
I would say probably not.
Okay.
Randy. No,
No,
not really.
really.
He wasn't out. He wasn't out to lay the old pipe.
No.
He just wanted to
Okay, well, it's
snap
down to
people's
two.
fucking heads off and eat
It's
you.
down to 17 so far.
Oh, no, he just wanted to rule the world. I guess originally he had no real plan. He was just kind of being a terror, and this time around he's like, no, I'm going to rule the world this time.
Yeah.
Hierarchy.
Yes.
Yeah. Sunlight weakness.
Yes.
Yeah. Holy weakness. Did he get burned by crosses or holy water or anything?
So
like
was
that?
the circle?
I guess that would be holy.
Circle was a ritual, right? Like
Yeah, it was a ritual.
And they were, and he
And
was
I think
holding
they
up
used
a cross,
Latin.
across to him.
Yeah. They were using a Latin ritual at least the first time, so there was an implied holy weakness.
Forbiddance.
Yes,
It
because
was-
that was hilarious that it was the welcome mat on his apartment.
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, and then also when he was walking in, like he opened up the door to the
Gym.
gym, and the guy was like, "Yeah, come on in, tell us your story."
He had his foot partially in, so it was one of those things of did he
What
really
did he-
need that
did he need it?
invitation? Maybe not,
Yeah.
but it solidified that he could if there was a strong enough threshold, I should say.
The rules of vampire coming and going is weird.
Yeah, it also depends. Like if you're in a public space, sometimes some properties make that distinction, some don't.
Yeah.
Some make any domicile require permission. Some are just like, it's open to the public, and I'm part of the public, therefore I'm allowed.
Ooh.
But
How convenient.
I like the fact that at one point when we were establishing the rules early on, we were discussing, would a welcome mat be sufficient? And apparently it is in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, if it says hello, come on in. I mean, if it said
Welcome.
if it just said welcome, who
To
knows?
the internet.
But he also said, hello, come on in.
Look around. Sorry.
Water weakness.
Oh.
Did they show him cross? They showed him cross the ocean in the boat in the old flashback, didn't
I
they?
think so, but I have vague recollection of
Yeah.
that part of the movie, so.
I think it was in the montage of him coming across. It was like Renfield on the ship or something.
And he was probably in his coffin, so.
So possibly they didn't show him not crossing running water or being burned by water, but
Yeah.
so maybe. The silver weakness again. I think they didn't show his reflection. They didn't show him being photographed.
And I think that was the one thing that we all were looking for, because
Yeah.
there's one scene where you can see that there's a mirror behind Nicolas Cage when he's in the frame as Dracula coming towards Renfield,
but the camera is angled in such a way that
that you never can see if he would or would not be able to cast reflection. Because I think we all saw that mirror and we're all like glued in. I'm like, is this reflection there? So undeterminable.
we can't determine it. And garlic weakness. Did he make a joke about not? No, I think I'm thinking of something else where they made a joke about not liking garlic.
I think you might be thinking about Dead and Loving It again.
No, I think I might be thinking of last.
Vampire in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I think.
Vampire in Brooklyn mentions garlic multiple times, but this one didn't.
So we got 4 where we're like, not really.
So what, 15?
They're saving it for the sequel.
I mean, any of these could be played up for more. Like a tragic figure in Randy. That's all depends on, I guess, the tone of the movie you're going
Yeah.
for. But usually, like
I would say-
vampire being like
Yeah.
sexual, like key for sexuality is one of the main features of them.
I don't know if he's going to be able to get much with how he looked in the beginning of the movie. So I have crossed oceans of time for you, and be like, get the fuck away from me.
I mean, he definitely he was charming.
Yes.
But I don't know if he was charming for the
What? No, continue. Charming for the...
charming for the purpose of
Yeah.
getting some finding the love of his unlife.
Now, what I did like about his appearance when he was healing is I feel like you could sit there going, he was healing and he was decrepit, and you could like, is this how Nosferatu was Nosferatu because he was a healing vampire who was just so deformed and not grotesque? Because I saw like some of the ways that he was looking. It didn't have like the long curled over ears or anything like that, but the buck fangs, but the way he was just kind of moving and moving, it was very Nosferatu-esque.
Keeping his hands up close to his chest.
I did notice that, and I like that because it's like, you can make a little bit of analogy that maybe, if somebody in that world were to see something that looked like a Nosferatu, that maybe it was really just a vampire being healed.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, it's also not uncertain if there's even other vampires.
Yeah.
Because usually blood makes vampires, and this it just seems to make familiars or brings people back from the dead.
Yeah, but I think in this one it would be based on the way the rules typically work is if you drink the blood of a vampire but you're not dead, then it doesn't turn you into a vampire. It makes you into a ghoul. If you have been nearly drained, I would think someone would need to be nearly drained and then fed, and then I think it would turn them to a vampire. I think
must have been other steps to making a ghoul too, because otherwise, like, his sister would be a ghoul, and because I think she specifically, like, when she was out with Aquafina, she mentioned, "Hey, this guy mentioned you fed me magic Dracula blood."
Yeah.
So that probably orally, not like in the wounds or like as a medicine or something like that, but actually just kind of directly in the mouth.
Yeah, but I did like how Ben Schwartz's character, see, I got his name right this time. He was like, "See, I'm special. I'm replacing you." And he's like, "Yeah, just wait till he gets you done. Master's not gonna get in my head."
Yeah. I like the Thrall on Thrall fight was fun.
There's the only part that I was really disappointed. I did want to know what was going on more behind that screen. Like
that definitely seems like cut out bit.
Like, they had like a little secret layer at the bottom of their little hideout, and it was like there was a screen up where they were doing some kind of experiments, which I thought was going to pay off because the first Hitman you see in the movie, the dude like straight up was like
a Frankenstein.
Bane, like he was straight up like Frankenstein, like Bane kind of a character, and like he was pretty interesting. And then, like, when I saw the screen, I was like, "Oh, what are they doing behind that thing?" And then it never paid off.
I think she was the girl that was behind the screen. I think was even in other scenes.
She was in the scene where they're watching the
cops get torn apart.
Yeah, and she's like,
she was like after like the arms got torn off and thrown, she was like looking super happy. Like she was like, "Yeah, that's the shit right there."
Yeah, she was, and you could tell it was her because of the way she had a very identifiable haircut. Her hair was very block and choppy and like very like single layer.
And she was small and Asian, I think, too, right? Or was she?
I think I'm not
sure. I
didn't
see her.
I don't know if she was Asian or Latin or
but she
like
definitely seemed like a unopposing.
Yeah.
Woman.
She seemed like a slight woman. It felt like they could have easily stuck Jenny Slate into that role since she had no lines, and then it would have been funnier.
That would have been way too distracting. Every time we would have got Schwartz and Slate on screen together, people would have been like,
"Don't be suspicious."
Yeah, waiting for them to do some shit. But yeah, the movie was a pleasant surprise. I went into it with no real expectations, but as soon as you go into a vampire movie and they say Nicolas Cage is Dracula, you're like, okay, there's gonna be some fucky shit going on in this movie.
I think he could play Dracula in a more serious bit, potentially.
He probably could. I think people don't give Nicolas Cage enough credit for being able to be a good actor at when he wants to be. That's the right phrase. When he wants to be.
He's an awesome actor, but I know that he got caught up in that scam, that Ponzi scam, that Ponzi scheme that happened. I think it was back in the 90s, where like one of those dudes basically took all of his money and said they were going to invest it and make it threefold, and basically just stole his fucking money. Mm-hmm. And I know for a fact he was one of the people that got caught in that shit. So he probably went through a rash of where you have Morgan Freeman do the one movie and it's like, because I wanted a couch. Mm-hmm. This guy, he's just like, I need to replace everything in the fucking house. So he was just taking anything that came at him. So
that doesn't necessarily excuse explain the over the top bits. I think that's just, I don't know, his style, or I don't know if people say like, we want you to cage it up in this, or how much of that's him, how much of that's them.
Yeah. We want maximum Cage.
Yeah.
Speaking of Cage, though, did you notice that Ben Schwartz, when he had the dual pistols, it was very reminiscent of the Face-Off Golden Pistols? Yeah. Having just watched
Kevin, we just watched the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Mm-hmm.
And those were featured prominently in that. I was like, those look like the guns from Face-Off at this point to me. That was very distracting.
So that's the part that I actually did like. I know we talked about it earlier, but like when he ripped the guy's face off, I was like,
face off.
I'm sure that there were probably lots of little hidden homages to mostly Nicolas Cage's, but I'm sure you could probably find a few for Nicholas Hoult as well.
Maybe. I don't know enough of his stuff.
There's
Beast, isn't he?
He's Beast, and he was in the Mad Max Fury Road. He was the kid who was...
What a lovely day!
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the...
He was the main...
whatever the Valhalla people or whatever they were.
Yeah, the non-leader, but the one who ends up working with...
the motor tweakers.
Mad Max and
Furiosa.
Okay. Yeah, the guy's talented. Like he can slip into a role. Like I love him. I love him as Beast.
But those are the two things that I know him most
I
of
just
the
don't know
time.
if I've seen him much.
I like Kelsey Grammer better as Beast.
So do I.
But he was still
Kelsey
pretty good.
Grammer brings the
voice.
Well, no, he brings the kind
Air.
of like the civility and the
Intelligence.
air about him that Beast had in the 90s cartoon. We know Beast mainly from the 90s cartoon. And there's so he has like this air about him where he's very intelligent, he's very refined, and Kelsey Grammer, despite being Sideshow Bob, brings that out.
But Sideshow Bob was refined.
Yes, he was, and that's why he snapped and tried to kill Bart Simpson.
The Bart, the. Oh, that's not his character. Die, Bart, die.
It stands for the Bart, the.
Yeah, but it's just, it's if you want to have fun, if you want to just have a silly time at the movie theater and see Nicolas Cage just go batshit crazy and eat the scenery, like every scene, it's really good. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
The animated blood was something I did not expect.
Yes, sir.
And like the first time it happened, I was like, oh boy, here we go. So I nestled into my seat. I will say that it is an hour and a half, and I was feeling the time near the end of the movie.
I kind of wasn't.
See, I was only for the fact of, I'll be honest, the whole him working on himself and reading the books and him talking about the relationship, like that part was kind of starting to drag for me because they kept beating that drum like a lot during that movie, and I get it. I get that it was kind of a study of their relationship, and I'm not trying to poo-poo that. I'm not trying to like lessen it. It's just like they kept going back to that shtick a lot. The whole scene of him going shopping and buying the sweater vest and painting the house and putting up the stuff from Pottery Barn, like that was just okay, but it was funny. But then like it started to get kind of wear on me. Awkwafina was funny in the movie, but I feel like her storyline was just kind of put there to kind of pad the time. Because she was on a...
Again, we all felt like there was stuff cut from that film, so perhaps there was a bigger tie.
It's also not necessarily a distinct storyline either.
Yeah.
The cop who's...
Uncorruptible dad cop gets killed, and daughter cop who's uncorruptible wants to get revenge. Yeah. And then FBI sister...
So you had the Renfield story, so we'll call that story A. Then you had Awkwafina story B. And then you had Ben Schwartz's story C. Yeah. And A, B, and C all were going on their own. And C touched with A. B and C were working together from the get-go because C killed B's dad.
Yeah.
But then C crossed paths with A, which then brought B into that. So it was just them kind of weaving together in this weird braid. So that's why it felt like the stories were disconnected, is because the stories were being told separately, that they were just converging together.
And it was kind of like
that?
Renfield working with Awkwafina, like in the relationship sense, not in the professional. So her story wasn't there. It was more of the two characters coming together.
No, they were just friends.
Yeah.
I wanted to see her vamp out. I was waiting for like a scene where she got shot. She's like, "Oh, I'm dying," and then they put blood in her mouth. She's like, "Ah," and I was waiting for her to like start beating people with their own arms too. So
apparently that would just bring her back to life.
Yeah.
Oh, and him beating some guy with his own arms. That shit was pretty funny too.
Yeah, it was good. Would you like to do your little score thingy?
Yes. So score thingy. Everyone loves the score thingy.
Yes.
Oh, yes. It's my favorite part.
And this will be the last time we do it.
I'm kidding. I said that just to be a bitch.
I'm fucking with you. So, Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
What did the critics give this movie?
72.
Gotta go with 83.
60.
Ooh. Oh, okay.
It's so fresh.
Audiences.
72.
Hey, you stole my number.
You stole my number.
69.
80%.
Oh, I should have stole your number. I thought about it.
And then on IMDb, what is the score?
It's a on a scale of 10, right?
Yeah.
With decimals?
Yeah, it's a point number. Yeah.
I'm gonna do
7.7.
I was going to go 7.9.
6.7. With a Metascore of
Nobody likes Metascore.
53.
That's a...
So, the movie is, as far as Rotten Tomatoes is concerned, it's deemed fresh. It's 1 point away from being yuck.
But it seems like the audience likes it.
Yeah, and
by-
this is a
by
movie
20%.
that is not Oscar bait. This is not an Oscar bait movie. This is an audience movie.
This is a go to the movie with your friends and laugh at a man hurling arms through people
Yes.
and tearing
This
their
is
face.
definitely a film that will have probably good cult followings as it ages.
I could foresee me picking this up in physical media as opposed to like digital media, kind of like I did with Violent Night, just because. Watching the deleted scenes would be kind of cool, or like the
I could see me
special
telling
features.
Tim, you have to sit down and watch this film. Make time for it, Tim.
Or you, out
Yes.
there, in Cameraland. I guess I'm talking to you technically again, but...
I've already seen it.
And myself.
Yeah.
And Nick. And who is it I say out there? Is that Mike? What's up, buddy? And let's see. Do I
Sorry.
see... Nope, that's it.
So, would I suggest you rush out to the movie theaters to go see it?
It's about to leave theaters. You better do it now.
If you want to, you better hurry up. But I'd say, wait and watch it in your friend's place with all your friends where you're talking over the movie. It's
Probably would make it fun.
if you're so inclined.
That'll help. Big time.
And maybe as a gross out movie to take a date to, so they cling to you, because it's not necessarily scary. It's more of just kind of oh my god.
Yeah, if you know someone who's
Who clings when they're squeamish?
Squeamish, yeah.
Yeah.
The first time something like starts gouting out of somebody like that.
or if they're squeamish about eating bugs,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of that.
That was kind of over the top, yeah.
Or seeing a pen driven in the neck and a head punched off.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing I will definitely give this movie. It did not back away from the gratuitous violence.
That's the
But
point.
again, it felt like even though it was so gratuitous and so over the top, it never felt gory or gross at the same moment.
Yeah, it was all very tongue-in-cheek.
Because you didn't really like they ate bugs, but you never really saw them.
Yeah,
You didn't see like bug guts just squishing out everywhere.
You don't really
Oh my
see
God.
the actual masticating of the bug.
It's fighting for its life.
Well,
you
there
can
was
see
that
the
one
leg
time
out your
when it's all
mouth.
in his teeth.
yeah,
but
when he
that's-
does a smile.
yeah, but that was about it.
But yeah, definitely go see this. I guess the last thing to say is, guys, does this movie suck or does it blow?
I think it sucks. Which is the good? Which is the up?
It sucks. What was that? A millipede or a centipede? Like John Ralphio did to get his first bug high.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, he snorted it.
I think it was a centipede because it had the legs out. Right?
Yeah. And I'd say this movie definitely sucks as well. So I guess that's good.
Yes.
I'm still confused on that part of the rating system.
Hey, vampires like to suck.
Right, and then
I thought I was creative with my analogy this time.
Sure. It's three bases a centipede.
this movie snorts, yes. But yeah, go see it.
It's a way of sucking in.
It is.
Renfield. It's at your movie theater right now, and God knows those guys are just,
Yeah, give them some money.
they're running out of money. Get out there and help.
Spend $30 on a
Help
crappy bucket of popcorn.
And 2 drinks. And yeah, I mean, those guys are hurting. Give them some money.
For a squirt.
Yeah, those guys are definitely hurting for a faux show. But yeah. Well,
The barking dog indicates. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
see ya.